So the next sutta is 5.20.196. The Buddha said, monks, to the Tathagata Arahan Sammasambuddha, before his full awakening, when he was not yet wholly awakened, but a being awakening, there came 5 great dreams. What 5? Monks, the Tathagata Arahan Sammasambuddha, before his full awakening, when he was not yet wholly awakened, and but a being awakening, dreamed that this mighty world was his bed of state, the mountain king Himalaya his pillow, that his left hand rested on the eastern sea, his right on the western sea, and that both his feet rested on the southern sea. Monks, to the Tathagata Arahan Sammasambuddha, before his full awakening, when he was not yet wholly awakened, and but a being awakening, this first great dream came. Again, he dreamed that there went out from his navel chirya grass, and it stopped not until it touched the clouds. Monks, to the Tathagata, before his full awakening, this second dream came. Again, he dreamed that white worms with black heads crept up over his feet as far as his knees and covered them. Monks, to him this third dream came. Again, he dreamed that there came 4 birds of varied colors from the 4 quarters of the world, and they fell at his feet and became all white. Monks, to him this fourth dream came. Again, he dreamed that he walked to and fro on a great mountain of dung, and was unbesmeared with dung. Monks, to him this 5th dream came. Monks, when indeed to the Tathagata Arahan Sammasambuddha, before his full awakening, when he was not yet fully awakened, and but a being awakening, there came the dream that this great world was his bed of state. Monks, by the Tathagata Arahan, fully awake to the highest and unsurpassed, full awakening to the highest was wholly awakened within him. To him, wholly awakening, this first dream came. When to him there came the dream that grass went out from his navel. Monks, by the Tathagata, the Aryan Eightfold Way was wholly awakened within him, and well proclaimed as far as devas and men exist. To him, wholly awakening, this second dream came. When to him there came the dream that white worms with black heads crept up to his knees. Monks, many white-robed householders found lifelong refuge in the Tathagata. To him, wholly awakening, this third dream came. When to him there came the dream that the 4 birds of the 4 quarters fell white at his feet, these 4 castes, noble, Brahmin, merchants and labourers, went forth from the home to the homeless life into that Dhamma Vinaya taught by the Tathagata, and realized unsurpassed liberation. To him, wholly awakening, this 4th dream came. When he dreamed that he walked on the mountain of dung, monks, the Tathagata received the requisites, robes, arms, lodging and medicines, and in them the Tathagata found enjoyment, yet was not tied, trussed, nor attached thereto, seeing the danger, wise as to the escape therefrom. To him, wholly awakening, this 5th dream came. Monks, to the Tathagata Arahan Sammasambuddha, before his full awakening, when he was not yet fully awakened, and was but a being awakening, there came these 5 great dreams. That's the end of the sutta. This sutta is saying that before the Buddha was enlightened, these 5 dreams came to tell him that what was about to happen. Dreams are quite interesting. Sometimes it explains our problem in quite clearly. Sometimes we have some problem and we dream. If we analyze the dream, it is trying to tell us something. So in this case also, sometimes what is going to happen also, it can tell us. So in this case, the Buddha had 5 interesting dreams. The first one was he slept over the whole world. The whole world was like his bed. And what this dream was trying to tell him was that he was going to be like the king of the world, the highest in the world. That means he was going to become enlightened. That was the meaning of the first dream. The second one, from his navel, from his navel, from his tummy there, the grass came out and it spread until it touched the clouds in the sky. And this meant that he was going to proclaim the Aryan Eightfold Way out of samsara up to the heavens, and devas and men would come to know of this. The third one, he dreamt that white worms with black heads crept up his knees and covered his legs up to his knees. This meant that lay people, many lay people would take refuge in him, with him, and become his disciples. The fourth one, that the 4 birds of different colors fell at his feet and became white. These meant that the 4 castes would go forth under him and become monks and attain liberation. And the last one, that he walked on a mountain of excrement or dung, meant that he looked at these requisites as similar to dung, that it could be enjoyed, but if you become attached to it, then it becomes like excrement, because it will dirty you. But he was able to walk on them without dirtying his body, which means that he was not attached to them. This is quite interesting, because monks, not only monks, lay people also, these things in the world that come to us and we make use of them. If we are wise, we know how to enjoy them without getting dirtied. Sometimes you can see some people when they inherit property and then they change for the worse, and or they work very hard and they become very rich, and then they become so attached to their property and wealth that this wealth dirties them, just like makes them unclean. They have become defiled by these wealth and property. So in that case, the wealth and property is like excrement, dung. So that is a warning that we should treat these things in the world very carefully. If we know how to use them wisely, then we are not dirtied, we are not defiled by them. But if we become too attached to them, then they drag us down, they defile us. There's one sutta, Ratapala Sutta, in the Majjhima Nikaya, where a son of a very rich family, he went forth. And after becoming an arahant, he came back to his house. And his parents were still trying to persuade him to come back to the lay life, to take back all his property. And he told his parents, he said, the best thing to do with all this money and all this property is to throw it in the river. Throw it away, because otherwise it's going to drag you down. The attachment to this property is going to drag you down to a bad rebirth. So that also shows how we should be careful of all this wealth and property in the world. The next sutta is 5.20.198. The Buddha said, monks, if a word have 5 marks, it is well spoken, not ill spoken, nor is it blameworthy, nor blamable by the wise. It is spoken in season or timely. It is spoken in truth. It is spoken softly. It is spoken about the beneficial. It is spoken with a heart of goodwill. Verily, monks, if a word have these 5 marks, it is well spoken, not ill spoken, nor is it blameworthy, nor blamable by the wise. That's the end of the sutta. Here the Buddha is saying that good speech have 5 qualities. The first one, it is timely, spoken very timely. Sometimes we have something to say, sometimes to advise somebody, but we must know the proper time to tell that person. If that person is very upset or very angry, and we choose that time to tell that person might not accept it. So speaking in the right time is important. The second one, what you speak should be truthful. Should be truthful. The third one, it should be spoken gently. not harshly, spoken gently, and then people can accept it better. The fourth one, it should be beneficial. And the fifth one is will be spoken with a heart of goodwill, with a good intention. These are the marks of a good speech. The next sutta is 5.20.199. Monks, when virtuous world renunciants approach a family, men there in 5 ways beget great merit. In what 5? Monks, when virtuous world renunciants approach, men, seeing them, make calm their hearts. Monks, that leads heavenward, and the family then has stepped a step along the way. Or when they approach, men stand up, salute and offer a seat. Monks, that leads to birth in higher rank, and the family then has stepped a step along the way. Or they rid themselves of all stain of meanness. Monks, that leads to great power, and the family then has stepped a step along the way. Or they share their food as means and power allow. Monks, that leads to great wealth, and the family then has stepped a step along the way. Or when virtuous world renunciants approach, men ask, make question about, and listen to Dhamma. Monks, that leads to great wisdom, and the family then has stepped a step along the way. Monks, when virtuous world renunciants approach a family, men there in these 5 ways beget great merit. That's the end of the sutta. The sutta is saying when a renunciant, a real renunciant approaches and people are respectful in the different ways, they get great merit. I think earlier you remember one of the suttas we read was that there are 4 fields of merit and also 4 fields of demerit. First one is the Buddha, but the Buddha is no more with us. The second one is disciples of the Buddha, meaning monks and nuns. Third one is mother. The fourth one is father. So these 4 persons, we should be very careful in our conduct towards them. So in this case, if we have proper conduct towards renunciants, then we get great merit. There's also another sutta where devas, different groups of devas came to see the Buddha at different times. And they told the Buddha that when monks approach, some of them they were very happy to see monks, and then or the first one, perhaps they were not happy to see monks, and but because of other good deeds that they had done, they were reborn in the heavens. But because they were not happy to see monks, they were deficient in certain qualities, because devas, some of them they are brighter, their body shines brighter than others. Some are darker, some are brighter, depending on how much merit they have, and that brightness in a way denotes how much power they have. And so, like this deva, they said that because they were not happy to see monks, so they suffered. As a result, they were less powerful in the heavenly realm. And then another group of devas came to see the Buddha, and they said when they saw monks, they were not happy. They received the monks, but they were not respectful. So because they were not respectful towards the monks, also when they were born in heaven, they were also deficient in certain qualities, and so they regretted. And then later another group of devas came to see the Buddha, and they said when they saw monks, they were happy, they were respectful, but they did not share the food with the monks. And because they did not give food to the monks, when they were reborn in the Deva realm, they also were deficient in certain qualities, and they regretted that. And another group said that they did all these things, but they did not ask about Dhamma, they did not bother to learn about Dhamma, and also they regretted. And then finally some other group said that they did all these things. They were happy to see the monks, they were respectful towards the monks, they offered food, they listened to Dhamma, etc. And when they were born in the heavens, they had great power, had great qualities. And so they were very happy. And so the Buddha confirmed all that. So you can see, depending on our karma, we are reborn according to our karma. Another Sutta 5.21.201. Once when the Exalted One was dwelling near Kimbila in the bamboo grove, the Venerable Kimbila visited him, and after saluting sat down at one side. So seated he spoke thus to the Exalted One. Lord, what is the cause, what is the reason whereby when the Exalted One has passed away completely, true Dhamma, Sat Dhamma, does not become long-lasting? The Buddha said, suppose Kimbila, after the Tathagata has passed away completely, the monks and nuns, lay disciples, both men and women, live without reverence, without heed, without respect for the teacher, without respect, without heed for Dhamma, without respect, without heed for Sangha, for the training, without respect, without heed for one another. This is the cause, this is the reason whereby when the Tathagata has passed away completely, true Dhamma does not become long-lasting. And what, Lord, is the cause, the reason whereby after the Tathagata has passed away, true Dhamma becomes long-lasting? Suppose Kimbila, monks and nuns, laymen and lay women disciples, respect and give heed to the teacher, the Dhamma, the Sangha, the training, revere and give heed to one another. This is the cause, the reason whereby when the Tathagata has passed away, true Dhamma becomes long-lasting. That's the end of the sutta. This is one of the suttas which tries to say why the true Dhamma, the discourses of the Buddha, does not last long. Here is saying that the first three, without respect for the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. Without respect for the Buddha means probably that instead of recognizing our Buddha, people revere other Buddhas. Instead of acknowledging our teacher is the Buddha, we look to others, other beings to respect as the teacher. Without reverence for the Dhamma is that we don't take the Dhamma Vinaya as our teacher. In the suttas, the Buddha said, we should take the Dhamma Vinaya as our teacher. We should always try to learn what is in the Dhamma and the Vinaya and be heedful of the teachings there. The third one is no respect for the Sangha. There might be some reason for this. Perhaps some people the Sangha perhaps might not be practicing well, might not keep the precepts very well, and people lose respect for the Sangha, and that would cause a decline. But we have to remember, we lay people are supposed to support the Sangha to keep the Sasana, Buddha Sasana going. So the Buddha said, if in the future, even if those who wear the yellow robes are corrupt, still if you support the Sangha, then the merit is still very great because you help to perpetuate the Sangha. By helping to perpetuate the Sangha, even if at a certain time the Sangha is corrupt, it is possible later on that Arahants will still be around. Whereas if you don't support the Sangha is terminated, cut off, then there is not possible for good monks to appear later. No reverence for the training, it's a training of the monk's life, keeping the precepts, etc. And without heed for one another is we don't live in harmony. If we don't live in harmony, that is one cause for the true Dhamma to pass away. There are other reasons given in other suttas, but we just stop here for the moment. Sutta number 5.21.202. The Buddha said, monks, there are these 5 advantages from hearing Dhamma. What 5? He hears things not heard, purges things heard, dispels doubt, makes straight his view, and his heart becomes calm. Verily, monks, these are the 5 advantages from hearing Dhamma. The end of the sutta. The first one, he hears things not heard, that means he learns the truth or the reality of existence. Purges things heard, that means he gets rid of wrong views. Dispels doubt, makes straight his view, that means he gets right view. And his heart becomes calm because from the joy of listening to Dhamma, joy arises, then the mind becomes tranquil. So these are the 5 advantages from hearing Dhamma. Now in the Samyutta Nikaya 46.4.8, the sutta, the Buddha said that when one listens to Dhamma attentively, the 5 hindrances exist not, and the 7 bojjhanga factors of enlightenment are complete, which means that when one listens to Dhamma attentively, one can become an Arya, because the 5 hindrances not existing and the 7 bojjhanga being complete are conditions for attainment of Aryahood. And also in the Majjhima Nikaya number 43, it is stated that there are 2 conditions for attaining right view: listening to Dhamma and having proper attention. The attainment of right view in one of the suttas in Anguttara Nikaya means that a person understands the 4 Aryan truths, and which means that when a person attains right view, he also becomes an Arya. So this again confirms that listening to Dhamma, one can become an Arya. And then in the Anguttara Nikaya 5.25, it is said that if right view is assisted by 5 things, it leads to liberation or attainment of Arahanthood: moral conduct, listening to Dhamma, discussion of Dhamma, samatha and vipassana, that means tranquilization and contemplation. So tranquilization and contemplation are the 2 aspects of meditation, and in addition to meditation, you must have moral conduct, Dhamma, listening to the Dhamma, and discussion of Dhamma to attain liberation. This again shows the importance of listening to the Dhamma. And in another sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 5.26, that it is stated there are 5 ways to attain Aryahood: listening to Dhamma, teaching the Dhamma, repeating Dhamma, reflecting on Dhamma, and reflecting on the object of concentration, that means during meditation. So that again shows that listening to Dhamma is very important. And the next sutta is 5.21.207. The Buddha said, "Monks, there are these 5 advantages from gruel or rice porridge." What 5? It checks hunger, keeps off thirst, regulates wind, cleanses the bladder, and digests raw remnants of food. Verily, monks, these are the 5 advantages of gruel or rice porridge. In the Monks' Vinaya, the Buddha taught his disciples, his monks, to take 1 meal a day. That means 1 main meal. But he did give certain allowances that monks could take in the morning, which did not constitute a meal. Things like taking milk, taking this rice porridge, and other medicinal kinds of food that was considered medicinal value. So because rice porridge had some advantages, that's why the Buddha allowed it to be taken in the morning even for a 1 meal a day monk. The next sutta is 5.21.209. Monks, There are these 5 disadvantages to one preaching Dhamma in a long-drawn, plain song voice. What 5? He is either carried away himself by the sound, or others are carried away thereby, or householders are offended and say, just as we sing, for sure these recluse Sakyan sons sing. Or as he strives after purity of sound, there is a break in concentration, and folk coming after fall into the way of wrong views, or fall into the same views. Early monks, these are the 5 disadvantages to one preaching Dhamma in a long-drawn, plain song voice. So this sutta shows that in the Theravada tradition, monks are not supposed to chant in a long-drawn, plain song voice. That means not in a singing way. Although this is done in Mahayana tradition, it is not allowed in the Theravada tradition. That's why the Theravada chants are quite monotonous, and it is for these because of this suttas like these.